That is so cooked, dude. Okay. I mean, you have to play an electro carry here. I think it really needs to be Lunar Charge, but it has to be an electro carry. Otherwise, it's just too much damage. And you definitely want a Hydro character on the team as well. Skirk Premium works fine in Fearless too. I guess 70% res is something you can brute force. That's fair. Because this Guffy is kind of a lot of shred. Is it worth getting an FF for this boss? Just her no flints? I mean, it depends on who your other options are. Like, whether it's a Lunar Charge team or not doesn't change that much as long as you have Electro and Hydro, right? But Inefa is generally an upgrade for your Taser teams. How many times can you break the shield? You have to break the shield 3 times. So you play for the Crab, Bloom, or Hyper Bloom. You're probably completely fine with Hyper Bloom, by the way. Do you think Nahida Hyperlink can do the Dire Crab? Dire? I don't know. I think that might be a little optimistic. C2 Nahida Hyperloom without Loma was having a rough time in Fearless already. I don't trust Leaker skill. 200. Okay, yeah, that's cooked as hell, isn't it? Okay, wait. It only swaps to air if it maintains the same elemental res. That's interesting. So you don't need a bow user, yeah. What do you play against the Drake? I'm not sure what I'm gonna play. Actually. I'm really not sure. What do I want to play? Mawika plus an Outland DPS? True. I could actually do Clawhand here. Instead. Because I'm gonna need Verissa for this. But so I can't do Verissa here. But the team I'll play here is probably the Farina one. So I can do Clawhand, Malika, Chivalrous, Auron, Official here. And it works. Probably. Yeah, you can also do like Skirk Nebilet. Skirk Yelan is a little sus. Yelan doesn't really do enough damage to justify it. Will Mualani work? It's kind of hard for a Mualani team to have a lot of pyro damage. Like, you can use Malika, but generally your Malika doesn't have the right units to be able to do a lot of damage herself. Isn't this boss a Chaska angle? Chaska works, yeah. The thing is, if you do Chaska, you're always doing 2/3 of your actual DPS, right? Like, that's how you gotta think about it. On other characters, or on other teams, right, if you have 2 carries, the carries will be doing all the damage they're supposed to be doing, but you have 2 carries, so your, like, team DPS will be a little lower to begin with. But that's probably better than using Chaska. Because Chaska's team DPS isn't that high, either. Maybe double Hydro Hyperloom will be able to clear it? Probably, but you want to do Hyperloom against the Crab. Sethos still that he clears this. True! I'm gonna be honest with you right now, alright? Sethos Stilthnutty is not a double carry team. Look at the optimal sets on Tilthnutty. Deepwood. Scrolls. 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 Let's look at Tilthnutty damage contribution. 19%. Sethos Tilthnutty, look inside Fischl. Listen. 12%. Yeah. It is dual carry, but it's between Sethos and Fischl, yeah. I think people just tend to overestimate Sethos, or not Sethos, Tifnetti's damage. What about C6 Tifnetti? C6 Tifnetti is like slightly better than C0 Alhaitham, but single target. Does C6 Tifnetti reach 100k? Yeah, it does. It does. But also, I've seen people see this and be like, oh my god, Electrocharge is gonna be so good. No. Alright. Like, it's... The reason why it's a higher number for Electrocharge than for Lunar Charge is because the formula for Electrocharge, like the EM multiplier, is gonna be a bigger number than for Lunar Charge. It's times 6. It's times 16 instead of times 6. Is it added to the EM multiplier? Yeah, it's not multiplicative. It's additive. Right? If the Electrocharge buff is much bigger than the Lunar Charge buff, you can assume that they're basically getting the same amount of increase. But if the Lunar Charge buff is the same as the Electrocharge buff, then you can assume that it's heavily better for the Lunar Charge. One good thing is that because this applies to the whole team, not just to your active character, it's actually gonna work, right? Like, you don't want to build EM for your Electrocharge characters out like when you don't have Lunar Charge on the team. So this 600% is going to be more impactful because your multiplier to begin with is really low. But like, the base damage for Lunar Charge is 2604. And your Lunar Charge carries, right, like Fled's, 98.4, 62.2, 20 times 6.6, 60 from the set, and then, let's say, 36.8 from Deathmatch, times 2. So your crit multiplier is 3.3, right? This Lunar Charge damage makes it so that it hits this times 200%. Why? Your Lunar Charge procs are going to hit for 17k more, right? Your Electrocharge procs will be hitting for 17k more as well. I guess Electrocharge does hit more often, so I guess it is a bigger buff for Electrocharge. But the Lunar Charge damage also applies to the talent Lunar Charge damage. So it's actually a lot better, right? But just for the reaction itself, they're pretty similar. Do you see this tier list for 6.0 Stygian Onslaught? Oh boy. Oh, that's from Vomfy. Drake, Crab, Fatui. Okay, Drake. I actually kind of disagree with some of this. I don't think Kanich is... Oh, after some more thoughts, here's an updated one. So, who was removed? Navia? No. Wait, who was removed? Chaska. Okay, bet. Agreed. Chaska doesn't deserve this. Drake and Fatui. Oh, I see. Okay, Crab. Okay. Fatui. I don't know if I would put Shannon in questionable Fatui. I think she definitely makes it pretty comfortably in Fatui. Why Shenhe? I don't know, actually. I guess because she's a usable Skirk support for the Fatui, and Skirk can brute force it. And if you brute force, you want more shred, and Shenhe is the only Crow character last slot that gives you more shred. Right? You don't want to use Shenhe if you're doing Skirk against a Drake. But anyways. I think Lama can make it into Drake and Crab, though. Not just Crab. Because Hyperloom teams are going to be fine against the Drake. They're going to be one of your options. I like that the only reason Ayato's here is because of Nilo teams. That's, like, so funny. I guess the idea behind why Llama's not in Drake is that if you have Llama, you should put her on the Crab. Because she's so good on the Crab. There's gonna be a good crab team with just Nahida and none of the other 5 stars listed. Well, you can just do Hyper Bloom, right? Neuvillette, all 3. I don't know about Neuvillette on the Fatui. I'm gonna be honest, I think that's kind of cope. Neuvillette and Effa, I think that's cope. You guys need to understand, okay? This guy has fucking 10 million HP and 70% Hydro Res. I don't think you're getting the DPS check on Neuvillette. Unless you go for a team that has a fuck ton of Shred, and Inefa doesn't Shred. Do you think Fatui is possible with Versa Overload without Hydro? Well, I'm not sure exactly what they mean by self-repair almost pauses, and very quickly, right? We don't have actual, like, numerical values for the speed of the self-repair, or for the speed of the self-repair when you electrocharge it. Oh. For the Fatui guy, the shield heal tick happens around every 0.65 seconds. It's about 8% per tick, about 12% HP per second. I'll try to test the new heal pulse mechanic soon. Okay. So, it's 4.5% of its HP. So, 4.5% of 9.5 mil. So it's 400k HP. Yeah, so it heals for 50k per second. With Verissa, with a well-built Verissa, your enhanced plunge into mini burst will be enough to do 400k in one go. So not 4.5% of the shield HP, which is 6%. No, the shield HP is 4.5% HP. The 6% is the amount of HP that the Fatui loses when you break each shield. You said it shields twice? Yeah, it shields twice. Won't Flynn's like destroy these shields in one rotation? Yeah, pretty much. Your C1R3 can do it, ours can't. Bro. I just realized I forgot to get my energy. We're kind of cooked, huh? Alright, so... Okay, what the fuck are you doing? What are you... Okay, whatever. Giving up. Like, if I want to be, like, actually properly showing it, right? I'll use just a level 95 Codex. This Verissa currently is much weaker than the average Verissa. We need to do 400k damage in the plunge plus Q. How did I do that? Right, we don't quite get there with this, but we're at like 300k, and you add an additional plunge less than 2 seconds after, and you're fine, right? Yeah, on Sun on Spine. Yeah, my builds are probably fucking Omega scuffed right now. Right, 2-piece scroll. 2-piece, like... But the point is... You don't need to... It's not about DPS. It's about short windows of high damage. You need to do 400k damage in 1 second, or 500k damage in 3 seconds. And then that one-shots the shield. And then you can go for the next shield. And that's very doable. Can Mauiga one-shot it? Yeah? With enough shred on the team? But I don't know if she can break the second shield without a second burst. Mualani's not getting through this. There's way too much res. You can't melt the shield? Oh, yeah, fuck that, then. That's cooked as hell for both Malika and Mualani, then. So my C2 verse, I can shred this guy with 3 E plus mini Q. Yeah, if your verse is strong enough, you can probably break the shield in just 3 lunges. Well, 6 including the mini Qs, yeah. Versa good in every Sig until now. Yup, my goat. Why is Kirk good versus the Drake? Skirk's teams have a lot of shred by default. And Skirk is very strong. And but yeah, you have to understand that, like, the way that this works, right? It heals for 50k per second. You need to get through a 400k HP shield through 50k per second healing. What that means is it favors teams that concentrate their damage in a shorter time window. Because once you break one layer of the shield, it won't get it back. Right? So if you do like 600k damage in like 3 seconds, and then you go AFK for 5 seconds, right? Or like for another 6 seconds, actually. That's 600k damage in 9 seconds. Which is 60k DPS. Which is like, baseline is barely enough to break even with the healing. But because you did all that damage in a short window at the start, it was actually enough to break the first layer of the shield, and then you can just stare at the enemy for 6 seconds and then do it again. And so, for teams that have like front-loaded damage in that way, the DPS requirements are a bit lower. But apparently Melt and Vape don't work against it, so Mualani is cooked as fuck. But then if you don't have front-loaded damage, if your damage is fairly, like, consistent, the fact that it heals for 50k per second means that if you have 90k DPS on your team, your actual DPS through to the shield is 30k, right? If you have 110k, 20%-ish more DPS, your actual DPS is now 60k. 50% more, right? So it makes a small difference more impactful, which is why a character like Skirk will be able to still be pretty good against the Fatui. Because she has enough of a difference that she can still work. I don't know what the fuck Hu Tao is doing here. But Overvape, I guess. Yeah, but like, if Hu Tao is here, why not Arlecchino as well? You know? If anything, Arlecchino should be a lot better. Because when the Drake is higher resistances, you can effectively let Arlecchino's skill cooldown tick down without consuming Bond of Life, which is gonna let you have a 200 Bond of Life rotation when he's vulnerable to pyro damage. I don't understand the pyro DPS against Fatui. It's just because the vape carries function with Inefa. That's the only reason. Does Malika Premium clear the Fatui? Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Because if you can't fucking melt it, it's kind of cooked for Malika Premium. You'd probably rather play Malika Overload. Bro, 9.5k HP is insane, man. But like, this is why I'm not convinced about Neuvillette, right? Like, with Neuvillette, you probably can get through the shield with Neuvillette and Effa, but does your Neuvillette team actually have enough DPS to clear this guy in 2 minutes? I don't fucking know about that, man. Like, that's 80k DPS baseline. That's so fucking high, dude. That's so fucking high. Like, the Cactus has a similar amount of HP in Dire. Right, this guy's HP is balanced out by the fact that he has low electro resistance. Right? So if you're playing electro carries, you gain a lot of damage through that low resistance. But your Neuvillette team is not a team that is focused mainly on the electro damage. There is electro damage, but it's not like the brunt of your team DPS, you know? So you need the new units? Not at all. Like, Veressa will get through this, no fucking problem. Chlorine probably gets through this too. Pretty much any electro carry. But you kind of do need an electro carry or a really powerful new unit. Sino? Honestly, Sino probably does make it through, yeah. With Inefa only, though. Only if you have Inefa. So with Zethos, maybe, yeah. But it's gonna be really fucking tight. Official Inefa Taser, it'll also be pretty tight. Because again, right? Sure, it loses HP, right? It loses 6% HP whenever you break a shield layer. But the shield layers have 4.5% of his HP. So he doesn't really lose HP, right? And it does take increased lunar charge damage, just like the cactus does. And its amount of HP is only a tiny little bit below current dire cactus. But its stall phase doesn't have a moment where you have to wait and stare, right? So, like, this is probably the equivalent of, like, an 8 million HP cactus in terms of DPS requirement. So somewhere halfway between Fearless and Dire Cactus. There is a C0R0 clear of Veressa, or sorry, of Inefa Taser with Sucrose, Fischl, Singto on Dire Cactus. So this will be doable with Taser. But you're gonna need good artifacts. Level 6? I don't know if you're doing this without Flynn's, I'm gonna be honest. 17 million HP is a very large number. So basically you need to clear Dire Cactus to clear Fearless Fatui. Not quite. But I'd say if the Cactus is taking you more than 100 seconds, like if Fearless Cactus is taking you more than 100 seconds, you're probably going to struggle against the Fatui. What do you mean 11%? It's 4.5% free damage. Because it has 3 shields of 4.5% HP each. And whenever you break a shield, it loses 6. So it loses 1.5, basically. You get a 1.5 extra. On each shield layer. This is Stolpa all over again. Technically has variety, but only the shield teams clear Dire. Kinda, yeah. Kinda, yeah. How fast does he shield? He shields at the start and he shields again a minute after. Is this a no sack, no fab again? I don't know, actually. I don't know. I don't think so. Because it's not a void shield. Generally, shields that you break through damage allow for fab and sack. I mean, it's kind of like the cactus shield, right? So it should allow fab and sack. The one that worries me is this fucking loser. Because he fucking flies, so can you even hit your things to generate energy? I don't know. Since when do crabs fly? Since they gave him wings. Duh. Where do I use Mualani for this Stygian Onslaught? Is she back on the bench? Yeah, she's back on the bench. She's probably gonna be dog shit against this. She's gonna be dog shit against this. She can work here, but I'm not convinced, honestly. Generally, the good Mualani teams don't really have that much damage from non-Hydro characters. Right, Vompi had it here, but I don't know about that, honestly. Mualani plus Mawika? Yeah, but what team are you playing with Mualani Mawika? Mualani plus BMX? I mean, you could do that, sure. I guess that's what you do, sure. Because You probably don't need Bennett against either of these. What's BMX? Bennett, Maoika, Shilonen. Alright, and you do basically a 3-unit team with Mualani, Shilonen, Maoika. And then when it gets Hydro Res, you do Maoika carry without off-field app, but that can at least vape her initial hit from Maoika, from Mualani. I guess that works. Yeah, okay, fine. I guess that's where you use her. Doesn't Mualani, Shilonen, Citlali, Maoika work? No. Citlali and Mualani teams is fake as fuck if you don't have Dendro.